It's psychedelic drugs, yes, or holy plants, yes, like the ayahuasca or the psilocybin. These are holy plants that have cultural use, very beneficial because, for example, people who use psychedelic drugs, and either the Indians or in Mexico or in Brazil, use psychedelics, they have less drug use in the community, yes, less alcohol, less violence, and so forth. There are many beneficial aspects for these holy plants, and unfortunately, UN conventions, yes, which is relevant to why we're here, prohibited the use of entheogens. These are called entheogens, teachers' plants, and this prohibition causes great harm to society because, for spiritual reasons and for strengthening the individuals, these holy plants are very important both in the indigenous societies and in the West. I was invited to attend the conference because I'm treating drug addicts with Ibogaine. Ibogaine is an African shrub that we've been using the last 20 years to treat heroin, cocaine, alcohol, and nicotine drug addicts. And I'm part of the original 4 people who started it, and now there are 30 or 40 clinics around the world using Ibogaine for a variety of addiction treatments. Well, Ibogaine, and its botanical name is called Tabranente iboga. It's a holy plant in Western Africa, in Gabon mostly, and it is used for initiation ceremonies in Africa for thousands of years. And in the 60s, there was a guy by the name of Howard Latzoff, who was addicted to heroin by that time, who digested it, and he found out that he could stop using heroin with no withdrawal symptoms whatsoever. And today, there are already 282 papers published on animals and humans in the scientific world. And most people stop using heavy drugs or hard drugs after Ibogaine. You lie in bed, you take the pills, it releases suppressed memories, it allows you to deal with the traumas in a very constructive way. It's like a psychiatric catharsis. It saves many years on the couch of the psychiatrist, and it lets them choose either life without drugs or life with drugs, which equals death. And it allows them to think of themselves how they were before they became addicts. And now there are all over Europe, in South America, in Australia, South Africa, there are clinics treating drug addicts. You have to screen the individual for his heart condition, for his liver, and some other blood tests and so forth. And if you are using Ibogaine irresponsibly, or you mix drugs like heroin while you're taking Ibogaine, there could be problems and sometimes fatalities. But I wrote, and it could be found at the Ibogaine dossier or ibogaine.org, a treatment manual, how to treat people with Ibogaine. And if it's done safely, then there should not be any problem, and all the beneficial aspects of Ibogaine can be acquired. In Israel, we try to do a clinical trial with Ibogaine because we, in the last 20 years, try to make it an official medicine through the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. And we never had the money, and the pharmaceutical companies were not interested because they want drugs that can be given every day or for long periods of time, and Ibogaine is given once or twice. We have an approved protocol by the Ministry of Health to detox 12 heroin addicts to show how effective Ibogaine is for the elimination of withdrawal symptoms from heroin. That's what we try to do in Israel. And I highly recommend governments to look into it because the arsenal, the tools available to fight hard drug addiction are very limited, and most of them are maintenance therapy like methadone or buprenorphine and so forth. And Ibogaine, you give it once or twice to an addict and it can stop, in most cases, stop taking drugs.